Gaming's in a weird place right now. I was just thinking about Marathon, the game that recently released from Bungie, and everyone knows so much of that studio depends on that game. I had no idea what the Metacritic score was. I was trying to guess it before I recorded this. It's a 73, which, based on people I've talked to, that seems kind of low. Maybe I'm just in a circle that randomly loves this game, but I'd seen videos about how it's not even worth $40 and so forth, but people seem to actually be enjoying it. Overall, though, it doesn't have the same kind of negativity attack that I've seen for games like Suicide Squad. This game seems to do just enough to stave off the Concord, the vicious attacks. It seems like it's doing enough. Maybe it's because it's $40, but either way, here we are with another live service game. We have fair games coming out at some other point. And I am just playing this game, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I grew up loving Indiana Jones. This is a movie series that I always thought was so cool. I wanted to be an archaeologist when I was a kid. Seeing Indy with Harrison Ford, with Troy Baker nailing the Harrison Ford impression was everything I'd wanted from a licensed game. Growing up, so many of us experienced weird, ridiculous licensed games. I specifically remember spending so much time playing the SpongeBob and the Nicktoons Unite games, mostly on GameCube. But even as I've gotten older, there are so many fun ones that, like the Batman Arkham games, like the Middle-earth games for the most part. Whether it's old random license games on the NES, like Goof Troop. These games were fun, they were interesting, and we just don't get them very often anymore because they're expensive, because every corporation, every company is so protective over the rights to their properties that now we have Indiana Jones coming out, and it's shown that we can still have a good game. We've gotten the Fallen Order games from Star Wars as well. It's just so interesting to me how these companies will spread their properties and will be so hesitant to make a video game out of them in some cases, when they'll make a set of really bad movies instead, and they decide that that's a better use of their money and time. Why not try games? And Indiana Jones has just proven something really special that I think will be promising for the future of licensed games. Here's the thing. I will always prefer new IP over licensed games because I like it when people get weird, when developers get weird. It's something new, I don't know what to expect. But I also love seeing these old characters, whether it's reborn video game characters or Indiana Jones in this case. What it's done even more than that is bring back something that I love that it seems like licensed games kind of do when I'm thinking about the Batman game that do really well, and it's kind of create an interesting hybrid experience where this game, much in the same vein as Dishonored, is the game that I keep thinking back to, and kind of some elements of the early Lara Croft games. This game really harkens back to those games. It's kind of got this hybrid open world, not really Metroidvania, but puzzle style gameplay, where you can go about doing things in different ways, just like Dishonored, but it's doing it without the powers. And it's really gotten me thinking about how so much of the time we have these live service games, we have these open world games that take so much of our time, yet here we have Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which you can feel it respecting your time. At the end of the day, this game is a bit of a collectathon, like some of those open world games, but it does it right. It makes it interesting. If you're truly an Indiana Jones fan, you're going to enjoy finding the files, the notes, taking pictures and understanding the lore, and just hearing Indy talk is so cool. But what this game does best of all for me is makes me curious. It makes me want to explore its world. Not even because it's beautiful. That's something that I don't often necessarily care about, is how beautiful a world looks, which this one really is. It's about how alive it feels and how curious I am through that. How I want to learn about the game and the world because it's made me invested, because of how it's crafted the world around me and how interesting the characters are. I love blank and liminal spaces in games. It adds so much to the world around it that isn't liminal, that isn't empty. My cat's on my lap, so I've had to adjust my speaking position, but for me, liminal spaces really, they exist in games primarily, and where they're most effective are in open world games and older games, where it just kind of adds to the mystery and makes it and makes the actual vibrant places in those huge worlds more interesting. Because if everything was filled in an open world, I just don't think it'd be that interesting. But in games like Indiana Jones and Batman, and specifically licensed games, what they can really do are add little details, little Easter eggs, little moments where you're kind of like, oh my gosh, that was from this movie. Or what a great detail that is. I mean, the Batman Arkham games, unbelievable amount of foreshadowing and details, and this game is just the same. You can tell they really love the franchise, and you can feel the passion in this game with every little touch. And that's so cool to me and so cool to see. But again, this is possible in other games that aren't licensed. I think of Prey, I think of Dishonored as two very specific games that remind me of this. Kind of that arcane style development that is so cool, is so interesting, and the world feels so vibrant. When you're going through Dishonored, you can feel the oppression, feel the wealth disparity. And when you're going through Prey, you can feel the kind of compression of space. You can feel the danger in the spaceship. You can feel unsettled just by how you are existing on that spaceship and the danger around you. And Indiana Jones, what it does is not unsettling. It doesn't dabble in creating any wealth depression or sensing the actual class structure of what's going on in Italy or in Gaza, in Gizeh, or anything. It really focuses on making you curious about the environment. It's how beautiful it is. It's how you're rewarded when you explore. There really aren't many blank spaces at all in Indiana Jones. Even if you're walking along the rooftops or traveling through the desert, you're going to see something interesting just around the corner. And it's what's so beautiful about these tightly, interestingly crafted spaces. It respects your time, generally a 30-hour experience, something like that, and you are never just spent wandering. You don't need to fast travel. Maybe in the desert you're tempted, but by the time you've gotten to your location, you're done thinking about whether you wanted to fast travel. It's really not that long, and you can sort of fast travel by using the signposts as well in the different areas. But I never found myself doing it, and that's a sign of a great game that I've talked about, when I don't want to fast travel. This game is not perfect. It's not the type of game where I'm going to recommend it for everybody, because I truly don't think that this would maintain the interest of people that play games today, that play live service games. If there was one game that I was going to say, hey, all of you who only grew up playing live service games, the younger generation, I wouldn't recommend Indiana Jones to start. This feels like a cool callback to those of us that grew up playing these type of games, that grew up loving Indiana Jones, and that can really appreciate feeling passion in a game. I don't think that there's anything wrong with those games, but I think that these Indiana Jones games need to exist, not just licensed, to be clear again. Even just like Metroid Prime 4 that released. Interesting game, same type of gameplay. What did it lack that Indiana Jones appears to have, though? It lacked that kind of curiosity. It lacked that detail in every little aspect of the game. Very detailed game, yes. But again, kind of like Indiana Jones, I do think, it relies on you being a fan to make the game even better. And that's why I think Dishonored and Prey really strike this balance really well, because they don't rely on a franchise or a license. But it's still awesome. It's still fun. The novelty almost never wears off. I felt myself getting tired by the end of the desert section, but it never really wears off, and I haven't really gotten much past the desert section, to be clear, either. But I'm loving what I've been experiencing so far. The beginning of the game is great. Right from the start, it calls back to the movies, and I just want to see more games like this. Not even just licensed, because again, I am very wary of those all the time. In fact, I waited to play this game even though I'd heard good things about it, because it was licensed. But this game has blown my mind. I can't believe that a game like this could come out and people would have the attention span and the interest for it, and that it would get an 86 on Metacritic and be considered for some people's Game of the Year. It's one of the most promising signs I've heard from today's gaming community, and one of the most exciting. There doesn't need to be constant action. There doesn't need to be constant death. There doesn't need to be something always happening. If it's the right world, really good storytelling like there is in this game, a lot of people can still be interested in it. And that's so exciting to me. And I'm loving the game. Not a masterpiece, just to give my personal review here. It has its flaws. Again, I wouldn't recommend this to everyone. But if you're like me, if you love those older games, if you just want to experience a world, put your headphones on, hear the whip crack, try to solve some puzzles, and have a top tier collectathon that's actually made pretty interesting by the exploration you have to do, then this is a good game for you. And if you haven't tried it, You should, if you fall into that category. And let me know if this video has convinced you to, or what you thought about it. Maybe you didn't like it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.